Hello children, how are you? I hope you are all fine. Children, today shall we continue the remaining topic of the enchanted pool? Okay, then shall we start? Did you read the lesson children? The enchanted pool? I hope you are read, but once again I'll explain whatever we have done in our last class. In the last class we have seen that Pandava in the game of a dice, they lose their kingdom and they agree to live their 12 years of life in forest. As per the agreement or as per the game deal, they will go to the forest to live for a 12 years. In the end of the 12 year, one day they will rest below the tree. As when they are taking a rest, they all are very thirsty and they want to take a drink of water. In that case, in that mean, Yudhishthira is a elder Pandava, then the second one is Bhima, third one is Arjuna, then Nakula and Sahadeva. Yudhishthira will order, to whom he will order? He will order or he will insist Nakula that to climb a tree, and as he climb a tree, to get source of a water or to find any indication of the existence of a water, he will come to know that there is a trees and bird crane. That was the indication of there is a source of a water. Following that indication, he will reach a pool. As soon as he reached the pool, there he will get that was an enchanted pool. When he reached the pool, that water was so transparent. Seeing that transparent water, he was very eager to drink that water. As soon as he was going to touch that water, one visible voice comes to him saying that Nakul, stop touching that water because this pool belongs to me. Before touching a pool, you have to answer my question, then you have to take a water. This is what the invisible voice threatened or it warned the Nakul, but he ignored the voice and he drank the water. As soon as he drank the water, he fell unconscious. That unconscious means that he will die in that place itself. Then the next Sahadeva was also sent by Yudhishthira to find out that why the Nakula has not returned, but same the way as Nakula did, even Sahadeva drank the water by ignoring the invisible voice and he fell down there. Then the next brave one, that was our Arjuna, he comes to pool to search of his two brothers, as the invisible voice warned the Arjuna that before drinking the water he has to answer the question. But Arjuna, as I told you, is very brave, right? He will leave the arrow, but that arrow is not able to reach the invisible voice, but he too thirsty, he drink the water and then he will fell down. Then next fourth comes Yudhishthira's second brother, that is a Bhima. Bhima comes, then he too drink the water and there he fell down. And next was Yudhishthira, he himself come to the pool, and when he comes to the pool, he saw that the four brothers were laying down. Then when he feel to touch the water, then again one invisible voice reaches him. Then Yudhishthira realized that is the enchanted pool. So the name was clear why it was an enchanted pool. Till here I stop the lesson children. Now I will continue remaining. I will read from the page 4. 7th point. Yudhishthira knew that these could be none other than the birds of Yaksha and guessed what had happened to his brothers. He saw a possible way of redeeming the situation, redeeming in the sense handling the situation. He said to the bodiless voice, please ask your question. The voice put the question rapidly and one after another. So children, shall we see what are the question by the Yaksha. First question, it asked, what makes the sun shine every day? Yudhishthira replied, the power of the god. Isn't it children? To sunshine, there is some invisible here to there, to move the things from here to there, we need a power. Yes, correct. I am moving my hand, but that hand, I believe that is the power of our God. To blow wind, that is the power of our God. So Yudhishthira wisely replied that to sunshine, that is the power of the God. Only because of the power of the God, the sun will shine entire earth. Then, what rescue man in danger? We write the question, what rescue man in danger? Yudhishthira quickly answered, that is the courage. Isn't it, children? To rescue man from the danger, he must have the courage. Then only he can come up or overcome the problem. So he says that to overcome from the problem, man should have a courage. Then, next, what is more nobly sustaining than the earth? Sustaining in the sense, suppose today I use this chalk, children, I use this chalk, and remaining I will keep it for tomorrow. That remaining which I keep, that will call it as a sustaining. So here that Yaksha or invisible voice will ask that what is more nobly in the sense worthy. So he says that what is more nobly sustaining than the earth, which is more sustaining. See, sustaining in the sense today I am there, right? Yesterday he was there, today I may not there or we may not there, right? So we are not sustaining. Only sustaining is that earth. Is it clear, children? The earth is more sustaining in the world. Or we can see, right, children? We can see our ancestors. Today they may not be here, but in their age the earth was there, and today also we are on the earth. That the thing is that earth is sustaining. So that invisible voice will ask, which is more sustaining like the earth. Then I hope this point is clear to you, children. Yudhishthira said, the mother who brings up the children. So he says that the mother who brings up the children, in the sense the love of a mother, one who brings her child, that is a sustaining, right, children? Tomorrow the mother may be there or may not be there, but the love which she had given to the children, that is a sustaining, he says. Then, what is faster than a wind? Mind. Yudhishthira replied, do you agree, children? Our mind is very quick. It will move here and there for a fraction of a second. It will so faster than a computer. So Yudhishthira replied that more than a wind, he thinks mind is faster. Then, what befriend a traveler? Learning. Children, he is saying, what is your best friend when you are traveling? He asks, or which is the best friend when we are traveling? Then Yudhishthira replied, it is a reading or a learning. Correct, children? Learning is a habit where you can carry. Wherever you are, you can carry. It says that learning or a book is our good friend, isn't it, children? So he says that if we had a habit of a learning, it means we will carry the books. So in learning or in traveling, learning is our best friend. That is the thinking or the view of Yudhishthira. Suppose if I ask what is your best friend in the traveling, you may say my iPhone, ma'am, because I used to use my iPhone for a traveling, for a time pass. Isn't it, children? Nowadays it is the answer, but in that time Yudhishthira replied that it is a learning is a best friend. Who is the friend of one who stay at home? He asked that suppose the person, one who was staying in the home, who is or who was his best friend? Then Yudhishthira replied that was his wife. Then who accompanies man in a death? He says that when you die, we know that, children, we come by alone, we go by alone, children. Isn't it, children? It means that when we born, we are alone. When we die, in that time also we are alone. We are not accompanied by anybody. But here the invisible voice asks Yudhishthira that what accompany when we die? Then what is the answer, children? What we take when we die? It is correct. We carry the goodness. What goodness or what dharma we have done, that we will carry. So here Yudhishthira replied that dharma, that alone accompanies the soul in the solitary journey after death. He says that what goodness we do, that we will carry. Isn't it, children? We will be remembered after our death only because of the good deeds that we do. Isn't it, children? You do lots of goodness, then the people will remember, yes, he was known for the goodness. That is what the Yudhishthira replied, that we are known for our goodness. Which is the biggest vessel? It asks, which is the biggest vessel? The earth, which contains all within himself. It is a great vessel. He replied that the earth is the biggest vessel because it contains or it carries so many things. It carries both the good, bad. It contains water, forest, everything. So he assumed or he think that the earth is a big vessel. Children, is it clear up to here? Read one by one and make it clear. It is so easy to understand. Then, what is happiness? Again he will ask that, what is happiness? Happiness is a result of a good conduct. So, see, he will ask, according to you, what is happiness? So, what we will see, if we are of your age or you are of the students of your age, what they will say, happiness is, ma'am, if we buy anything which we like, that is our happiness. Or if we spend the time with our best friends, that is our happiness. Or parents do the things if we like, that is our happiness. But here Yudhishthira replied that happiness is the result of a good conduct. So here Yudhishthira says that if you are having a good behavior, that is the happiness. Yudhishthira says that if suppose you are having a good behavior, then that is the happiness, isn't it, children? Because you are spreading your goodness to others. That brings happiness to them. At the same time, it brings happiness to us. What is abounding which man become loved by all? It means that, see, you have so much of wealth, you have everything with you, but still you are abundant by all. Abundant in the sense you are remain alone. Though you have so many wealth, you are wise in knowledge, but still you are abundant. Abundant in the sense where people leave you alone. So he asked, that invisible voice asked that, what makes you abound by the all? So he says that Yudhishthira replied that pride for abounding that man will be loved by all. So he says that if a human being having a pride in the sense what we say garva, ahankara, if we have that, then whatever we have, whatever knowledge you may have or whatever wealth you may have, then you will be kept aside by your relatives or friends. Then you have to spend your life as alone. So what makes us abound? We are abundant only if we are having a pride. What is the loss which brings you joy and not sorrow? See that question, children. What is the loss? Yes, you are going to lose something, that is a loss, but which brings you joy but not sorrow. He asked a question that you are going to lose something, even though you are losing a things, you are getting a joy out of that loss but not sorrow. Is it clear, children? Then he says that anger, give it up, we will no longer be subject to a sorrow. So he says that anger is one of the quality of a human being. Do you agree, children? The anger, whereas pride, this is all the human qualities. Though we have a good qualities like love, sympathy, everything we have. This is one of the few qualities of a human being. So here Yudhishthira says that you leave anger. Though it is a loss to your personality, anger, when you leave the anger, though it is a loss to your personality, but still out of that you are gaining something. What you are gaining? That you are not subjected to sorrow. When you leave anger, a subject called sorrow, sadness, which will go out of to you. In the sense you are getting a happiness. That is a gain only, isn't it, children? Then what is that? By giving up, which man become wealthy? Again he will ask, if there is something, by giving up that, you will become a wealthy. That is, he answered, that is a desire. Again, this is one more quality of a human being. He says that the human being first he has to give up desire. Why desire, children? See, I have so many wealth. Okay, assume that think that you have so many dress of a latest design, but still again you want to have a more and more of a new trend. That is a desire. He says that you give up that desire, then you will become a wealthy, because Though when we have that habit called desire, then however or how much you may have, it makes man mind empty. Correct, children? If you have a concept or a thing called anger, pride or a desire, then it makes your mind empty. So he says that give up or get rid of a desire, then you will become a wealthy. Then what makes one real Brahman? It is birth, good conduct or learning. Answer decisively, children. Here that invisible voice asks Yudhishthira that, see what makes one real Brahman? Brahman, you know, it is a upper category of a society. What makes that you are a Brahman? Whether it is a birth, should you born in a good family, or it is your good conduct, or a learning. Yes, out of these three, you have to answer decisively. What do you mean by decisively, children? I'm repeating the word decisively in the sense you have to very accurate. Accurate in the sense out of these three, your answer should be only one. That accurate meaning is decisive. Decisively. So Yudhishthira replied that birth and learning do not make one Brahman. He says that though you may born in any of the family or any of the category of a society, or you learn whatever you want, or you may be highly educated, it doesn't make you a Brahman. Good conduct alone does. He says that if you have a good behavior, children, if you have a good behavior or good mannerism, then only you can consider as a Brahman. However, learned person he will not be a Brahman. Maybe he is well educated, though he is born in a very good family, Brahman family itself, but unless he have a good conduct, he will not be considered as a Brahman. If he is a slave to a bad habits, when he born in a bad qualities, when he adopted the bad qualities, though he was born in a Brahmin family or he is well educated himself, then also he will not consider as a Brahmin, because only when he cultivated the good habit himself, then only he will be considered as a Brahmin. Is it clear, children? What is the greatest wonder in the world? He asked that, which is the greatest wonder? Every day, man sees creature depart to Yama's abode, yet those who remain seek to live forever. This verily is the greatest wonder. So he asked that invisible was asked that, which is the great wonder? Which is the great wonder? What is the great wonder, children? What is the great wonder? What example you can say? See, you know that nobody can stop it, that things will happen. I am repeating, children, you know that one particular thing, it will be happen, nobody can stop it, but still we are expecting that it will not happen. That is the greatest wonder, isn't it, children? You know that the things will happen, but still you are expecting that will not happen. Then that is the big wonder, because that line says that, see, every day we see that any 1 or 2 person die. It means that what, children? When we are born, we know that any one or other day we are going to die. Isn't it, children? We may die tomorrow, or we may die after completing our 100 days. It is sure that we are going to die. But when we know that we are born to die, in that situation, we are expecting that I should live long. That is the wrong thing, isn't it, children? When we know that we are human beings, when they born, any other day they will die. It is not that they will complete their 100 years. They may die in 50 years, 60 years, or 20 years, children. We expect that they should live long, right? But if they are expecting that we should not die, I should be what? Live very long, then that is become a what? Something foolishness, isn't it, children? Here it is a very wonder that though we know that we are dying, but still if we are expecting that we should live long, it is our mistake, or it is a big, what we say, surprise. That is the meaning of that line. Children, here I like to stop, and what you have to do in the sense, though this is a language, main thing you have to do it that This is a lesson. You read it every day so that it will improve your vocabulary and it will keep touch with the concept